no way I would want to do that too.
Jake Paul finally got knocked out by Mike Tyson, and no, it wasn't in the ring. It happened because Jake canceled the fight he had been practically begging for. And why? Because Tyson, being the absolute legend that he is, asked for a random steroid test. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aren't drug tests just part of the whole pre-fight ritual? Sure, but Tyson wanted to catch Jake off guard with a random test. No time to prepare. And we all know why Jake couldn't agree to that. Smells a bit fishy, doesn't it? But Tyson wasn't going to let Jake off that easily. This isn't just the baddest man on the planet in name. Tyson lives up to it in every way possible. And as we know, November 15th, 2024 was supposed to be a monumental day in the world of boxing. The ring was set for an unforgettable showdown between Mike Tyson, the man who once sent shivers down the spines of opponents, and Jake Paul, the brash and controversial YouTuber turned boxer. This fight wasn't just another bout, it was the clash of generations, a test of whether Jake's youthful audacity could withstand the sheer power and legacy of Tyson.
We got a YouTuber fighting the greatest fighter that ever lived.
The announcement of the fight sent shockwaves through the sports world. Social media exploded with predictions and debates, as fans and critics speculated on whether Jake Paul, despite his previous victories, had bitten off more than he could chew. Could he really go toe-to-toe with a living legend? The excitement was palpable, and everyone had an opinion. The memes, the hashtags, the endless discussions. It was clear that this fight had captured the imagination of millions. Jake Paul, always one to relish the spotlight, seemed to thrive on the attention. Fresh off a string of victories that had left his critics reeling, Jake's confidence was at an all-time high. He wasn't just confident, he was cocky, often making headlines for his trash talk. In interviews and social media posts, he didn't hold back. He mocked Tyson's age, questioned his stamina, and even went as far as to suggest that Tyson's time had passed. Jake painted himself as the future of boxing, the young lion ready to take down the old guard.
Every time these fighters sit across from me and it's YouTuber, it's Disney Channel, all that shit, and then you end up on the fucking canvas and you'll see, it's gonna be no different here.
But if Jake's words were meant to rattle Tyson, they had little effect. Mike Tyson, the man who had once dominated the heavyweight division with his brutal knockouts, responded with the calm confidence of someone who had seen it all. Tyson wasn't interested in the back-and-forth banter. He was focused, determined, and ready to show the world that even at his age, he was still a force to be reckoned with. When asked about Jake's trash talk, Tyson's responses were succinct but powerful. He promised that the fight would be a reminder of why he was once the most feared man in the ring. And during the press conference on August 18, 2024, Mike Tyson didn't just stroll in like your average fighter hyping up a match. Oh no. He made sure to drop some serious bombs that left everyone in the room, including Jake Paul, absolutely floored. What was supposed to be just another routine event in the lead-up to their much-anticipated clash turned into a full-blown Tyson takeover, where the rules of the game got flipped on their head.
Be in good shape because your health depends on it.
First up, he announced that the only way to win this fight would be by knockout. No TKOs, no lucky stoppages, just a straight-up, old-school KO. The room went dead silent for a moment, then erupted into a chorus of gasps and murmurs. I mean, who does that? Tyson, that's who. It wasn't just a rule change, it was a statement. A bold, in-your-face kind of statement that said, if you want to beat me, you're gonna have to knock me out cold. But Tyson wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. Just as the room started to settle down, he hit them with another curveball. Mandatory random drug tests. Now this wasn't your run-of-the-mill pre-fight pee-in-a-cup situation. Tyson wanted these tests to be random, no warning, no prep time, just a surprise, it's testing time kind of deal. And let's be honest, everyone in that room knew exactly who this was aimed at. Jake Paul, the king of controversies, the guy who's had more rumors swirling around him than a tornado in Kansas. Tyson was making it crystal clear. There would be no shortcuts, no sketchy wins, and definitely no room for doubt when they finally stepped into that ring. Now, if you've been following Jake Paul's career, you know this guy's had more than his fair share of shady moments. Critics have been calling his wins into question for years, especially those TKOs that always seem to end just a little too conveniently. Rumors about bribed refs and rigged fights have been dogging him, and Tyson, being the knockout legend he is, wasn't about to let any of that nonsense taint his legacy. By scrapping TKOs and bringing in the random drug test, Tyson was basically saying, Jake, if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna have to do it the hard way, and good luck with that, buddy. And here's the best part. Jake Paul's reaction was priceless. As Tyson laid down the new rules, you could practically see the gears in Jake's head grinding to a halt. Gone was that cocky grin, replaced by a look of pure, unfiltered panic. It wasn't just the no TKO rule that had him rattled, though that alone was enough to make his chances look slimmer than a dollar bill. It was the random drug test that really had him sweating bullets.
2-minute rounds. You want to make it 10 threes? Don't talk to me about shape. Don't talk to me about shape.
Stay in shape, all right?
You want 10 threes?
Okay.
You want 10 threes?
Jake immediately tried to play the legal card, whining about how Tyson's changes were a breach of their contract and how unfair it all was. But come on, Jake, we all know the score here. Back in March, when this fight was being negotiated, Jake had agreed to let Tyson call the shots. There was no fine print trickery here. Jake knew what he was getting into. His little meltdown was nothing more than a desperate attempt to wriggle out of a fight he clearly wasn't prepared for. Of course, the media had a field day with this. Headlines screamed about Jake's unease, the so-called legal drama he was trying to stir up. But anyone who's followed Jake Paul knows this playbook by heart. When the going gets tough, Jake gets distracted. It's classic Paul behavior: dodge, deflect, and distract. But Tyson, the man was cool as ice. He'd seen it all before, and he wasn't about to let Jake's antics faze him. Tyson's message was loud and clear. This fight was going to be fair, clean, and above all, decisive. No excuses, no controversies, just two men in a ring, and only one would walk out a winner. With tensions between these two now cranked up to 11, the stakes for this fight have never been higher. Tyson's rule changes have turned what was already a massive event into something that feels almost historic. A battle not just for bragging rights, but for the very integrity of the sport itself. As the fight date creeps closer, one thing's for sure: November 15th, 2024 is going to be a night that'll be talked about for years to come. And let's be honest, Jake better hope his chin is as strong as his Instagram game, because Tyson's not messing around. Jake didn't waste a second. He jumped on social media like it was his personal boxing ring, ready to throw punches. Not the literal kind, though. His millions of followers were used to seeing the cocky, trash-talking Jake, but this time they got a glimpse of something different. Jake was pissed. He was fuming, actually, and he let the world know that he thought Tyson had just broken the sacred rules of their fight agreement. In Jake's version of events, Tyson was the bad guy, changing the rules to sabotage his chances of winning. Apparently, Tyson had rigged the whole thing to make sure Jake had no shot at victory. Or at least that's what Jake wanted everyone to believe.
Whatever, wherever, whenever. I don't give a fuck, so it's all talk.
Of course, the media ate this up like it was the juiciest scoop in town. Headlines screamed about Jake's accusations, and analysts couldn't resist dissecting every word, trying to figure out if there was any truth to his claims or if Jake was just playing his favorite role. According to Jake, the no TKO rule was a sneaky move by Tyson to remove any chance Jake had of sneaking in a win. And the random drug tests? Jake painted them as a low blow. And that's when Jake's frustration hit a boiling point. His social media feeds turned into a non-stop barrage of posts accusing Tyson of everything under the sun. Rigging the fight, trying to ruin his career, you name it. Jake's fans, always ready to back their guy, rallied around him at first. But even they started to have doubts. Was Jake really worried about fairness, or was he just looking for an escape route?
Talking.
The answer came soon enough. After days of ranting and raving, Jake dropped the bombshell. He was canceling the fight. Yep, the fight everyone had been buzzing about, the one that was supposed to be the biggest of his career. It was off. The boxing world was stunned. What started as a beef over rule changes had spiraled into a full-on crisis, with the fight now dead in the water. And for a lot of people, Jake's decision to cancel wasn't just shocking, it was an admission of defeat. Not in the ring, but in the court of public opinion. Logan, being the showman he is, didn't hold back. He launched into this story about how Jake, before all the YouTube fame and boxing antics, had dreams of becoming a Navy SEAL. Yes, you heard that right. Logan wanted us to believe that Jake, the same guy who made a career out of pranks and viral stunts, once harbored ambitions of becoming a hardcore military operative. He's a real killer, Mike.
Mike, like, he wanted to be a Navy SEAL before he started boxing. Like in high school, he wants to be a Navy SEAL. He wanted to go kill people on behalf of his country.
Logan declared, addressing Tyson directly in the interview. Like this was going to be the mic drop that convinced everyone Jake was more than just a loudmouth with a big social media following. According to Logan, Jake's high school years were filled with fantasies of serving his country, ready to go full Rambo and defend the nation. But here's the thing. Trying to picture Jake Paul as a Navy SEAL was like trying to imagine a cat swimming the English Channel. The guy who became famous as a Disney Channel star and then transitioned into a YouTube prankster wasn't exactly what you'd call SEAL material. Sure, Logan was out there swinging hard, trying to recast Jake as some disciplined, tough-as-nails warrior. And Tyson? Oh, Tyson wasn't having any of it. In true Mike Tyson fashion, he brushed off Logan's defense like it was just another annoying fly buzzing around.
Hit me, put my chin out there and let him hit me, no.
What is your biggest concern going into the fight? Is it your gas tank?
No, I'm doing really well.
All right.
Tyson's dismissive response was a stark reality check for anyone who might have been buying into Logan's narrative. While Logan was busy trying to convince the world that Jake was some kind of hidden warrior, Tyson wasn't buying a word of it. He's been around the block too many times to fall for that kind of talk. For Tyson, the fight was about skill, power, and who could deliver when the bell rang, not about who could spin the best story beforehand.